What are you doing joyriding in the Pegasus? Your research reconnaissance mission was not scheduled until... Wait a minute, what's that uniform you're wearing? What's that look on your face? You have a lot of questions to answer, soldier. Once you have finished logging your report in the command center, I want to see you in my office, immediately!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Journeyman Project, Pegasus Prime. We're back in the TSA. Baldwin's there, but he's not commissioner anymore. And he's kind of confused by us. Alright. Well, we gotta review our historical log, and we can't do it here, so we might as well get out of the Pegasus. I like that the Pegasus now has a lounge seat instead of, one of those flat beds, which makes you just kind of spin around and fiddle around with gravity. One thing I was kind of remembering from the debrief from the AI before we made our jump to dinosaur times last time was talking about the historical log and it being pretty much a chronicle of pretty much all of history up to the present. I kind of wonder to myself, how is it updated? It's certainly a disk. It's certainly a disk that can hold a lot of stuff. That is the Pegasus spot chip. I want the historical log. Yeah, news reports which chronicle all of recorded history. That's all the way back to... what would that be? 5000 BC, Mesopotamia? That's where technically history started because of what could be written down and chronicled. Either that or it was 11,000 with Jericho, but oh well. Anyway, that's a lot of data to be putting on a single disk. Either the technology for optical memory is certainly a whole lot better now than it used to be, because otherwise you would put it on like a 2 terabyte micro SD card at this point, because those exist and they're tinier than your pinky finger. But then again, I'm feeling that the optical memory of a CD-ROM is probably going to be a little bit more secure for dealing with. Anyway, the TSA looks to be the same. Not a whole lot of things have changed. The robots are still here, the heads are still here, which is a notable thing to note.
Agent 5, you are hereby ordered to proceed to the command room by order of Commander Baldwin.
And the robots say the exact same line as when we first entered the TSA on the normal timeline. I feel like the line, there wasn't a line made for the robots technically in when you were supposed to, if you wanted to talk to them first. So that's why they don't say Commissioner Baldwin in the beginning. Instead, they just go to the only line that they're programmed to say, which is a little bit of an interesting thing to note because, it's kind of a little bit of a jump, a little bit of a thing to maybe look into. Because that kind of goes like, wait, that's a wrong line. Oh, wait, nope, it feels like a little bit of an error, but it's... I don't know. Something. Anyway, today we're going to get a whole lot more knowledge. It's a knowledge episode, but we're going to be learning a whole lot of different things, and it's going to be super cool. I promise. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Woo! All right. In ya go.
Checking for temporal discrepancies.
It also takes a whole lot shorter than it did last time. So we have, of course, our 4 major areas that have altered. Chance of success, and we also get a chance of success based on all of them like we did before. In Turbo, 23% based on historical relevance, 57, which is a big one, and then 48 historical relevance. Now, there has been things kind of passed around with the World Science Center and what happens with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually start with... I don't really know what to start with, because like me talking is just going to kind of do it. I'm going to start with the beginning one. Let's start with the beginning and work our way down. Let's see what began at 2112 that we saw on our original map. So here's what it was in the beginning.
May 15, 2112. The government of Gorbistan appears ready to agree to the terms of the Worldwide Unification Treaty being set forth by the United Nations. However, at least one terrorist faction disagrees with the terms of the plan and has expressed this disagreement by taking hostages. Nevertheless, it appears that the Worldwide Unification Treaty will be signed by Gorbistan and all other nations of the world.
So, despite a little bit of conflict, it's going to get signed. It does get signed, and we get our Robert Jimenez, our first unification president. But I guess that's not happened here.
5/15/2112, 1400 hours. Today, amid negotiations to work out the final details of the Worldwide Unification Treaty, a nuclear missile was launched by the United States toward the country of Gorbistan. The missile, however, self-destructed before actually touching down. Before the scare, the leaders of this country appeared to be ready to accept the terms of the peace plan. Although the U.S. officials have repeatedly stated that they don't understand how the missile could have been launched, other foreign governments have already said that they cannot possibly sign a treaty with a country that would use such scare tactics. Thus, the Worldwide Unification Treaty, which has come so close to realization, now has little or no chance for ratification.
Well, there we go. The power of active deterrence. So, yeah. At this point where we are now, the world is not unified. It is still the same as it was 200 years before. But there we go. Or, I don't know what I'm really saying with the date. I don't know. But it didn't happen. And that was where our primary rip came from. So, that only had a small little chance of historical relevance of doing something, but we did have something else that happened a little bit later. What happened?
August 3rd, 2185. Early today, the pilot of a cargo shuttle approaching the Morimoto Mars colony spotted an unidentified spacecraft in orbit over the colony. The sighting was verified by landing base scanners and immediately reported to Earth. Soon after, the ship sped off towards the outer reaches of the solar system. This first governmentally verified encounter with an alien race has already prompted the leaders of the world to start emergency closed-door meetings to discuss the implications of this monumental event.
We saw an alien! Aliens exist! And all of National Geographic rejoiced. But anyway, yeah, so that happened. It went away, and that's all that was said for Unaltered. But then what happened? What happens now?
8/3/2185, 0800 hours. Morimoto Corporation's Mars Colony project suddenly went offline last night, just moments after the pilot of a cargo shuttle spotted an unidentified spacecraft in the area. While it is still unclear what has happened, many believe that the colony may have been destroyed by a malevolent alien race. Repeated efforts to contact the colony have met with no success, but before the comlink to the colony was terminated, the sighting of the alien spacecraft, its rapid departure, and a subsequent unexplained explosion were recorded by long-range sensors on Phobos and verified by Earth authorities.
Okay, a bunch of different complicated things happened. There was an explosion, there was an alien spacecraft again, but there was an explosion as well, and there was a kind of this connection between the Mars colony being destroyed by that alien spacecraft. So there was, another area of tension based on whatever evidence they were able to come across. Now, the 2308 is not considered an event. It's not a rip. Kind of a ripple, in a sense, because we do get an event here. And this is where it kind of changes off. Because these two, and this one can be considered rips because they are serious events. But this one is less so. Here's the Unaltered.
More than a century after the first confirmed sighting of a UFO, aliens have finally made contact with Earth. Early this morning, a huge triangular-shaped vehicle entered into Earth's orbit. After 3 hours, the spacecraft came through the atmosphere and hovered over Caldoria. Moments later, the following message was transmitted over all communication frequencies.
We are the Cyrollans. Please do not be alarmed. We have come because we feel that you are ready. You have reached a point where you are no longer dangerous to yourselves or others. This is why we've chosen to invite you to join us, the Symbiotry of Peaceful Beings. We are an alliance of sentient beings whose objective is to benefit from the sharing of knowledge and culture. We know that it will take some time to fully comprehend the significance of this encounter, so we will give you the opportunity to deliberate our proposal. On this same day, 10 years from now, a Cyrollan delegate will visit you to extend a formal invitation to join the Symbiotry. Until then, we look forward to meeting you in person.
And as suddenly as they had appeared, the Cyrollans departed, leaving Earth to ponder the implications of their existence and their incredible proposal.
Over a century later after that first sighting on Mars, then the Cyrollans come again and make that really weird sounding message. Hello, we are your friends. Welcome to Mars Attacks, but it's the nice aliens. Back. But yeah, they come, they say that they say really weirdly, especially nowadays. It's like the wording is again a little bit weird. It's like, you are no longer a danger to yourselves or others. I'm like, what does that really mean, really? But that is the result of the unification happening, as well as the sighting and nothing happening. But now we're in the altered timeline, where the missile went off and the unification did not happen, and the Mars colony blew up and we thought it was the aliens that did it. What does that mean for the altered state of this event?
Today, 123 years after the first official UFO encounter, an alien spacecraft entered into Earth's orbit. After several hours of silence and mounting tension, the aliens transmitted the following message over all communication frequencies.
We will return when you are ready.
While no one is quite sure what this message means, many leaders have voiced concern about interacting with an obviously powerful and potentially dangerous alien race.
Despite whatever events happened between the two of them, the Cyrollans left a message anyway. The message changed, but they left a message. So that's why this is not technically a rip. I think it would be more of a rip if they didn't leave a message at all. Thus we get to our final area, which is a rip. This is at the World Science Center. So, here's the Unaltered.
January 17th, 2310. The Symposium on Alien Contact began today at the World Science Center in New Sydney, Australia. The debate centered around whether humans are ready for interaction with alien races. One speaker, Dr. Enrique Castillo, had a particularly moving speech. Dr. Castillo embarrassed the naysayers by systematically shooting down their arguments and thrilled the attending scientific community with visions of medical and technological advances which could be gained by such interaction. Although there were strong keynote speeches on both sides of the argument, most of those in attendance appeared to be in favor of alien contact.
Yeah, so there was a symposium talking about the message, pretty much. You're getting a message from aliens that is going to spark intrigue about whether or not what is the next step for us to do. Do we want to engage or not engage? Are we going to be xenophobic or not? So this one pretty much had us going Castillo, who is one of the busts in the TSA, also the first ambassador to the Symbiotry of Peaceful Beings, hence what we were going to be doing today, other than, well, saving the time stream. That was going to happen because of his wonderful speech. Altered, however...
1/17/2310, 1800 hours. Dr. Enrique Castillo, a well-known biologist and advocate for establishing alien relations, was murdered earlier today. During his speech at the Symposium on Alien Contact in New Sydney, Australia, Castillo was speaking on stage at the World Science Center when the single shot from an unknown assailant was fired. He was later pronounced dead on arrival at the Darling Harbour Medical Complex. The murderer is still at large. Dr. Castillo was the most outspoken at the debates and firmly believed that contact with alien races would be beneficial to humanity. Although his views were not mainstream, Dr. Castillo's contributions to the pro-alien movement will be greatly missed.
That is going to cause a major rip.
After I was alerted that you had the historical log, I began monitoring your actions. I just downloaded the information regarding the temporal distortions. I still can't believe it has really happened. I'm reviewing all of the information about this matter, but it's obvious I can't risk sending you back to change things now. My life in the only world I have ever known is at stake. And no matter what the regulations say, is going to change it for better or worse. As of this moment, consider yourself a hostile enemy of the state. I'm sending robots 1 and 2 to guard the command center door until I can figure out how to dispose of you. I'm sorry, Agent 5, but once I destroy the historical log you brought back from the prehistoric site, the only memories of your world will be in your head. And that's where they're going to stay.
Initiating auto-activation of Contingency Program 13, which states, any attempt to obstruct a TSA agent while on a mission is a direct violation of TSA Regulation 11. Override code implemented. Attempting to establish link with Command Central Computer Core. I/O link established. Agent 5, you may now utilize the TSA Central Computer.
New target acquired. Rerouting robots. Rerouting robots.
This certainly fleshes out the TSA in terms of change timeline a whole lot, because Turbo didn't address this at all, because there was not really a commissioner or a leader to it. You were just the agent, the one agent. You were going to be lone wolfing the whole thing, and that was it. So you pretty much just get this whole situation of, you see this, and you kind of go, okay, but should you be changing this? What is the new TSA guidelines? There are so many things that are not addressed, and it's kind of better if they're not, because then it gets really messy, because this is starting to get a little bit messy because it just tries to play it so cleanly. And I feel like it has to play cleanly, otherwise you're going to get stuck here, and you're going to have more holes than you could possibly imagine with. That's the problem with time travel stories, to be honest. But we have a puzzle here, which is not so much of a puzzle as it is, where do you want to send robots? Do you want to send them to the ready room, where you have to go in order to get back to the Pegasus? Do you want to keep them at the command center and maybe talk to them and give them some brownies? Or do you want to send them to the main entrance, where they can be between where you need to go and not be a nuisance to you?
Rerouting robots.
Bye, robots 1 and 2. Sorry you don't get names. I like the other thing is, like, you sent them to the main entrance. That also means the other side of the door. But yeah, you send them there, and everything is good to go. Baldwin doesn't have anything to say about this. I could talk about the acting a little bit, but I feel like that's kind of unfair because it is an FMV game. But I kind of will, where I want Baldwin's actor to be a little bit more militant, but it all depends on what his direction of acting was supposed to be based on the designers of the game. I really have no place. I'm sorry, Agent 5 from a different time stream, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to make you a crazy person by destroying the historical log and having everything in your head. Now, before I go to the ready room, I did mention the bust before, and I'm gonna tell you that all 6 of these busts are the same. And I feel like, because of the distortion rips, well, most of them are correct, except for one. Castillo.
Dr. Enrique Castillo, Earth's first ambassador to the Symbiotry of Peaceful Beings.
As we have struggled on Earth to blind our eyes to the differences that have separated us in the past, so must we now, as a unified people, acknowledge and welcome the differences of races from planets other than our own.
Yeah, they really did not expect you to go back and examine these things a second time, because they did not put in a contingency for these busts in the alternate timeline. Again, that's why it makes these kind of alternate timelines and exploring them in full detail so messy, because you have to address so many different things. Everything else is pretty much okay because you have Sinclair doing the time travel thing, but seeing as we're in an alternate timeline where the Symbiotry of Peaceful Beings is not going to be here for us, Castillo is a little bit out of place, especially when he is 8 years dead. Do we get a new suit?
Access authorized for Agent 5G, Blackwood. Biosuit detected. Suit already in place.
I have no idea about
Please
this.
keep hands inside turbolift.
I have no idea what kind of biosuit this is, because I didn't give it to you, but whatever. That kind of would have been cool if we were going back and getting a new biosuit, that kind of way. Although that would be another, like, break in the time stream of like, oh, this is from an alternate timeline? Cool! Again, yeah, so I really like that the TSA is kind of changed. They kind of went a little bit more deep, but then again, you do get to see the potential holes if you dig a little bit too deep. Luckily, though, it's over. We have our information, and we're back in the Pegasus.
Gage! Wait! Let's
Hey!
talk this over. I'm sure we can figure something out. I will give you anything.
According to TSA Regulation 11, all communication and data links to the outside must be severed to prevent possible obstructions from hindering the completion of the mission. Now proceeding with the I/O isolation procedures. Time-bending preparations complete. You may now choose your temporal destination.
And there we go. Okay, we're officially done. No more talking to Baldwin. We are completely isolated now in the Pegasus. No need to go back out to the TSA anymore, because that is just going to be a problem if we do. So, here's our situation. We have 3 locations that we need to go to. We can either go to the World Science Center in Sydney, Australia. We can go to the Morimoto Mars colony. Or we could go to NORAD 6 in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, that's where apparently our missile launched from. We're going to be seeing where we are going to go to next. on our next episode, our next video for Pegasus Prime. It's been fun. It's been fun talking about this. This game and Turbo really not into the historical aspects like Buried in Time and Legacy of Time are, because I do feel like this one is very special in its area, that it's its own thing, trying to establish its own roots. And it still has some really good things to talk about. So, I'll see you next time, everyone, as we choose our first destination to go to, and see what differences are there versus Turbo. See you next time, everyone!